This update adds some intriguing details to the ongoing goalkeeping situation and potential moves for both Gianluigi Donnarumma and Manchester City. Here's a breakdown. Gianluigi Donnarumma costing PSG millions as Manchester City's stance becomes clear. Manchester City continue to be linked with Gianluigi Donnarumma, but the Italian goalkeeper remains at Paris Saint-Germain for now, at great cost to the French side. Paris Saint-Germain are faced with having to subsidise Gianluigi Donnarumma's staggering £500,000 a week wages as they look to find a buyer for their out-of-favour Italian keeper. Manchester City have been linked with a move for the 26-year-old if they can agree a deal to sell Brazilian favourite Ederson to Galatasaray. But the Blues will not be prepared to make Donnarumma the second highest salary at the Etihad behind Erling Haaland. PSG have been touting the former AC Milan stopper to Premier League clubs all summer, and Chelsea are also now being touted as a possible destination. Manchester United decided the financial package was too expensive after being quoted a £50 million valuation. And although the European champions have since slashed their asking price by half, the players' personal terms are still deemed excessive. City have spent £30 million this summer, bringing England under-21 international James Trafford back to the club from Burnley. Trafford's error against Tottenham last weekend sparked suggestions that he may be loaned out for the season. But while Donnarumma would add experience to the City squad, the Italian does not have the passing range that Pep Guardiola demands from his keepers. City's final game before the international break comes away to a Brighton side who beat them at the Amex Stadium last November. A Manchester derby awaits after they return, with Manchester United coming to the Etihad on September 14th. Always we have the arms around their shoulders, the way we take care of them, City boss Pep Guardiola said when asked about Trafford's difficult moment. It is impossible to be better. What happened does not belong just to James. To James, what happened with the second goal against Spurs, he's a strong man and huge personality. Of course he was concerned, and I wouldn't want it any other way, but we are here to help in those moments. City have now learned their fixture schedule for the 2025-26 Champions League. The league phase begins on the week for September 15th, with City kicking things off at home to Napoli on the Thursday as Kevin De Bruyne returns to face his former club, with Leroy Sane returning to Manchester with Galatasaray after the turn of the year. I am really pleased that they can come back here. And of course, we have to beat the two teams, Napoli and Galatasaray, Guardiola said, of the prospect of facing the duo. But it is nice to bring them back, and we can give a great welcome to them because they deserve it. If holders PSG don't offload Donnarumma, the keeper could yet feature against Premier League opponents in Europe. The French side will host Tottenham Hotspur on November 26th and Newcastle on January 28th. Thanks for sharing the detailed update. Here's a concise summary and analysis of Pep Guardiola's current stance on Manchester City's goalkeeping situation and the wider squad picture. Pep Guardiola changes stance on Manchester City goalkeepers to add to transfer confusion. The goalkeeping position is up for grabs at Manchester City, and amid the uncertainty, there is no clear number. 1 at the Etihad. Pep Guardiola is yet to decide who will start in goal for Manchester City at Brighton, amid uncertainty over the future of Ederson and James Trafford's mistake against Tottenham last week. And he is going to delay a decision on his first choice for the season for another few weeks. The City manager will decide on Saturday who gets the nod in goal at the Amex Stadium, with Trafford aiming to keep his place after the 22-year-old started the first 2 Premier League games of the season. Ederson returned to the bench against Tottenham, which was a surprise call after Guardiola had labelled the Brazilian his number 1 a week earlier, but the Brazilian continues to be linked with a move away from the Etihad. Galatasaray want to sign Ederson, but any potential transfer is going down to the final days of the window. Guardiola's plans for Sunday's fixture on the South Coast could change if the two clubs agree a deal, with the potential for a departure this weekend. The City boss admitted he now won't make a decision on his number 1 for the season until after the international break and a week that consists of Premier League games against Manchester United and Arsenal and the start of the Champions League. That is a change of stance from 2 weeks ago when he insisted Ederson remained his first choice goalkeeper. In this part of the season before the international transfer window is closed, everything is possible. So it's simple as that, Guardiola said of his goalkeeping group. After that, we're going to play United and Champions League and Arsenal. After that, everything will be more clear and we take a decision. It depends on the performance, and it depends on many reasons. Trafford was partly at fault for Tottenham's second goal last week, and he was also fortunate not to be penalised for a handball outside the box between the first and the second goals. The episode unsettled him, and he produced a nervous performance on his home debut for the club, but Guardiola said he had bounced back this week and received support from within the club. Always they have the arms on their shoulders. Always. They don't believe it, but we take care of them. Impossible, it would be better, he said. What happened don't belong just to James. It's not easy to say, but don't belong just to James to change what happened in the second goal against the Spurs. He has a huge personality. Of course he's concerned. I would not like it if he is not concerned, but of course we are here to help them. Guardiola refused to be drawn into the future of some of his players who could leave before Monday's 7 p.m. deadline, and even elected not to comment on Savinho, who is now set to stay at the club despite interest from Tottenham recently. Monday, finish the transfer window, and next press conference you can ask me about that, Guardiola said when asked about Savinho. Don't ask me about the rumours and the potential arrivals or potential flights, so next week. Guardiola also insisted he would be happy with the squad if no more players left, despite insisting throughout the window that it is too big. Stefan Ortega, Manuel Akanji and Ilkay Gundogan could all leave without being replaced, but Guardiola has no concerns if they don't go and insists the players know they are in danger of being left out of squads. I don't like to have players at home, but the reality is the players know it for a long time, he said, and if it stays like it will stay, I will be more than pleased and I will handle it day by day. And that's all. Here's a concise match preview for Brighton versus Manchester City this weekend in the Premier League, including team news and a predicted lineup for both sides. Brighton versus Manchester City preview. Team news and predicted lineup. Manchester City take on Brighton in the Premier League this weekend with both sides in search of 3 points. Brighton and Hove Albion enter this match with just 1 point from their opening 2 games, as the Seagulls began the season with a 1-1 draw against Fulham.